Hi girls, I hope you all are doing good. So in this video, in today's class, we will be starting off with your second chapter in advanced financial management, that is cost of capital. So let's begin with what is capital. Now, as we all know, capital is something that includes money, property, any valuable which is collectively representing the wealth of an individual or a business. Okay, it includes money, property, anything that is representing a individual or a business. Okay, any wealth which is representing an individual or a business. Now, classical economics regards capital as a factor of production, distinguishing between, now they are distinguishing between financial capital and physical capital. Let's see what financial capital is. Financial capital is accumulated, okay, it is accumulated or inherited wealth held in form of assets. Okay, it is accumulated or inherited wealth held in form of asset such as stocks, shares, property, bank deposit, etc. Now, financial capital is the capital which is owned by the company in the form of shares, bonds, debentures. Okay, now similarly, physical capital is the wealth in form of physical assets. Okay, it is in the form of physical assets like plant, machinery, any sort of asset which the organization owns, which is movable or immovable. Okay, the term is also used to describe investment in a company as either share capital or debt capital, loan, or debt, or called as debt called loan capital. Okay, so capital, there is one particular capital which could be either in physical form or financial form. Okay, physical form is nothing but it is something which is in the form of plant, machinery, or anything as such, whereas in financial form it is in the form of shares, bonds, debentures. Now let's look into what is fixed capital. Fixed capital is durable. Okay, for example, it could be factory, offices, plant and machinery. Next, you have circulating capital. Under capital, you have fixed capital, you have circulating capital. What is circulating capital? It is the capital which is used up quickly, such as raw materials. See, raw materials are something that are perishable, right? Perishable. It could be, your raw materials could be stored also, and some raw materials can also be perishable. Okay, raw materials, components, stocks, finished goods, etc., which are waiting for sale. So fixed capital, circulating capital. Third you have is private capital. Private capital is usually owned by individuals and private business organizations. Okay, private capital is usually owned by individual, a single individual, or a private business organization. Next, you have social capital. What is social capital? It is owned by the state as an infrastructure of the economy, such as roads, bridges. Okay, it is basically the government which is taking into consideration the social capital, wherein they are responsible for constructing bridges, roads, railways, etc. Okay, after your social capital, you have your human capital. What is human capital? Is basically the capital which a particular person has in order to carry out his basic necessities of life, in order to take his education, his health, businesses, okay, to start up something on his own. Next, you have investment is the process of adding to the capital stock of nation of a business. Now, when you talk about capital will only be formed when you are investing something, right? When you're investing various public when suppose you're starting a particular company, you invite the shareholders to come and invest in the shares of your company, right? So what are you doing when the shareholders come and purchase the shares of your company? In turn, you're getting return as a capital, right? You're getting return as capital, that is capital of the company. Suppose you have for example, you have capital as 1 lakh, 1 crore, 2 crores. Okay, this will be your capital of the company. Now let's look into what is the meaning of capital. Capital basically refers to cash or goods which are used to generate income, either by investing in business or different income property. It is the net worth of business, that is the amount by which the assets exceeds its liabilities. Okay, it is basically the amount in which the asset is exceeding its liability. Now, why do you require capital? You require capital in order to set up a particular business. You require it to purchase plant, machinery, equipment, to carry out your day-to-day operations, etc. Right? So this is the meaning of capital, wherein you are investing something in order to get a return. Now, what is the definition of capital? According to Alfred Marshall, capital consists of all kinds of wealth other than free gifts of nature which yield income. Okay, it consists of all kinds of wealth which are yielding income, except for those which are not yielding income. Okay, according to J.R. Hicks, capital consists of all those goods existing at present time which can be used in any way so as to satisfy wants during subsequent years. Okay, suppose you have it in the present time, and this particular capital can be used to carry out your day-to-day operations or anything, so it is satisfying your needs. Now, let's move on to what are the characteristics or the features of capital. Firstly, it has a productive factor. Why does it have a productive factor? Is basically it is when you have sufficient capital, you're able to carry out the activities or day-to-day operations effectively. So your level of productivity is increasing, and your speed of operation is also increasing, and that is why you have a speed of production. So that is why it has a productive factor. Next, it has feature or characteristics is elastic supply. Now, supply of capital depends upon capital formation process. Okay, elasticity completely depends on the capital formation process. Capital formation depends upon savings and investment. Very important, the amount of savings you have. Suppose me as a person or an individual wants to start up a particular company. So to start up a particular company, I need to have certain amount of savings as well as investment, right? So this elasticity completely depends on what kind of savings I have and how much investment I have in a particular business. Okay, now by accelerating capital formation, capital supply can be increased, but it is a long-term process. Now, if you want to increase your capital, you need to increase the supply, but this is a particular long-term process. If you want to increase your capital, okay, it should you need to give some time for the business to begin with its growth stage, introduction, growth, maturity stage. Towards the growth, you will be able to increase your capital. Next characteristic is a man-made factor. Okay, now capital is not a gift of nature. Obviously, it is not a gift of nature because it is a man-made factor, because you are bringing in money and you are pulling in money for the well-being of the business and to carry out your operations for the successful business and to make it even more profitable. Okay, next is durable. Durable is because a capital is not perishable like labor. Capital is something that is going to remain in the company. Suppose you're investing 5 crores in the company, it is going to remain. It is going to remain. You might have expenses, but the capital is remaining. It is not perishable. Okay, it tends to give you more and more profits based on your investment. Easy mobility is basically capital can be moved from one place to another. That is why it is very mobile in nature. Derived demand. Now, why is it the derived demand? Because you need basically capital is a derived demand, because for a company to survive and to have an effective growth, you need enough capital to carry out your day-to-day operations. So you are deriving demand, wherein you are calling the shareholders to come and invest in the particular company. So in a way, you are deriving demand for the capital. And also for your products. Okay, suppose if you're coming up with a particular product, you are making sure that you have people who are purchasing your products and services. Okay, next one is roundabout the production. Roundabout the production is basically capital goods will not satisfy our wants directly, but somewhere indirectly it is satisfying our wants, and it is basically meeting our demands. Okay, now next is you have your social cost. What is social cost? Resources have alternative uses, as you all know. One resource can be used for another purpose in a different way. Either they can be put to production of capital goods or consumer goods. Okay, depending on what kind of goods it is, whether it is a capital good or whether it is a consumer goods. Okay, based on which you will be generating something known as social cost, and for this you require something known as society capital or social capital. Okay, next topic you have cost of capital. Now, what is cost of capital? Okay, cost of capital is basically an important component of business valuation. Now, what is business valuation? Every month, once in 6 months or a periodical basis, or once in a year, you always tend to evaluate your particular business, right? Where to see whether the business is incurring profits or it is going in loss, or if you're able to generate good profits or not. You are evaluating your business, because investor expects his or her investment to at least grow by the cost of capital. Suppose I'm investing 5 crores, I will want certain amount of profit which I'm generating every year. So I will be evaluating my business based on how much cost I'm incurring for the particular capital. Okay, now the cost of capital of the company is the average rate of return. Okay, it is the average rate of return required by investors who provide long-term funds. Example, now what are these long-term funds? It is equity, preference, equity shares, preference shares. Okay, it is long-term debt. Okay, basically what is the cost of capital? Basically here the investors will come together and they will provide a company with long-term capital, wherein they will say the particular company, okay fine, you take capital from us, but based on the timely basis you give us returns, but we are ready to give you long-term capital. Now, a central concept in financing decisions, the cost of capital is important for two reasons. Now, why is cost of capital important? It is important for two reasons. Firstly, for evaluating capital investment, and secondly, to maximize the value of the firm. Now, what will happen while you are evaluating capital investment proposals? For evaluating capital investment proposal, you need to prepare a particular estimate. Just like how we calculate NPV, you suppose you have, for example, you have two projects, that is Project A and Project B. Now, Project A will require a capital investment of 4 lakhs, Project B will require a capital investment of 5 lakhs. Now you will see which project is giving you more return, where you have more profits, what is the payback period, etc. You will calculate. So you require that capital cost, you require the capital concept in order to evaluate your capital investment. Secondly is basically and also in the evaluating process, you will set a particular benchmark. Suppose you are expecting a return of more than 1 lakh, okay, suppose you're expecting more than 1 lakh, and you will set a particular benchmark. Suppose if your return, when you calculate your return, it is coming up to 80,000, you have chances of rejecting it. If you have more than 1 lakh, you have chances of accepting it based on the calculation. Next, you have to maximize the value of the firm. Cost of all inputs, including the capital input, must be minimized. Okay, all the cost when a company is incurring cost, you need to minimize your cost. You need to minimize your cost. Why do you have to minimize your cost? Because you need to maximize your profit. You need more profits. That is why you need to cut down on the cost. Okay, these were two reasons for which you had to. Capital is important. Okay, now let's move on to meaning of cost of capital. Now, what is the meaning of cost of capital? The cost word only states that cost of capital is the minimum required rate of earning or the cutoff rate for capital expenditure. It is the minimum rate of earning or the cutoff rate of capital expenditure. Now, cost of capital is determined. Okay, cost of capital is determined by the market and represents the degree. Okay, it is determined by the market. Okay, the cost of capital is determined by the market. Supposingly it is known through the market conditions and represents the degree of perceived risk. Okay, it will also show you the amount of risk that is taken by investors. When given the choice between two investments of equal risk, investors will generally choose for one providing higher return. As I gave you earlier, the example of two projects, that is Project A and Project B, how on based of the capital how based on investment, based on payback period, NPV, risk, all of the things are calculated and which project will be selected, okay, effectively. So this is the meaning of cost of capital. Now, when a cost of capital is something where you are investing in a particular project, you need to have higher returns. Okay, only then the particular project was successful. Only then the project will be profitable. If you are incurring more investment and lesser return, that means it is not profitable. Okay, only if you are attracting more funds, then it is profitable. So, definition of cost of capital. Now, definitions can be one among the four as per your convenience. So, I will look into the second definition, that is Solomon Ezra. Okay, according to Solomon Ezra, cost of capital is the minimum required rate of earnings or the cutoff rate of capital expenditure. It is either the minimum required rate, okay, what is the minimum required rate for earning, or you can also call it as the cutoff rate for capital expenditure. What is capital expenditure? It is the expenditure. It is you are sacrificing the money in order to get something in return. Okay, next you have your next topic, that is significance or importance of cost of capital. Now, why is cost of capital so important, and why does it have so much of importance or significance? Okay, so let's look into the significance or importance of cost of capital. So firstly, you have capital budgeting decision. Why is the cost of capital very important? Because firstly, you have cost of budgeting decision. Okay, because here cost of capital will play an important role in identifying which project will be profitable, which project will be giving you higher profits and lesser payback period, when you will have to face less risk, and which project will give you higher returns. Okay, so it will also help you in capital budgeting decision, wherein it will show you as to how much of savings you need to have, how you need to go about capital budgeting. Okay, how you need to finance in various projects. Okay, so this one, so the first importance of cost of capital is basically because it will give you capital budgeting decision. Your second importance is designing the corporate financial structure. Now what happens in corporate financial structure is basically it will help you in preparing a very sound budget, and also will help you in carrying out your day-to-day operations effectively, and will also keep an eye on the market fluctuations. Okay, now market fluctuations, you know that you have something known as external environment and internal environment. The external factors and the internal factors will have an impact on the cost of capital. So that is why designing a corporate financial structure is very important, and thus cost of capital will also help a particular organization to design a corporate financial structure. Okay, next you have deciding about the method of financing. Now you have various methods of financing, okay, but your cost of capital structure will help you in identifying what are your external factors, what are your internal factors, what is the profitability of the company, what is the investment that is involved. Based on all of this, what is the interest role that is prevailing in the market, the cost of capital method will help you in identifying which is the best method of financing for you. Okay, you have various methods of financing. It will help you in choosing one best method of financing. Okay, next you have performance of top management. Performance of top management is basically here through cost of capital you can also evaluate the performance of the top management based on how they are performing on the financial basis, how they are carrying out their budgeting, how they are taking out decisions for payment of salaries, your loans, your rate of interest, your payback period, how they are going about selecting a particular project. Okay, based on which you can also determine the performance of top management. You can compare the profitability of the project, etc. Now other areas, what is this other areas? The concept of cost of capital is also important in many other areas of decision making, such as dividend decision, working capital policy, etc. Okay, cost of capital also plays an important role in other areas wherein you have to take decisions regarding your dividends and also your working capital. Okay, policies related to your working capital. Now what are the circumstances for using the cost of capital? The circumstances for using the cost of capital, there are three conditions. Okay, the three conditions which should be satisfied for using a firm's cost of capital for evaluating new investment. Okay, you need to satisfy three conditions for using firm's cost of capital or for evaluating new investment. So let's look into the three circumstances. Your first circumstances, the risk of new investment is same as the average risk of existing investment. Okay, the risk. Now suppose you have one company comes and introduces a particular project. Now the risk of investment of the new project should be similar to the risk of investment of the existing project. In other words, the adoption of new investment will not change the risk complexion of the firm. Okay, now suppose a particular firm has certain amount of risk. Now that particular firm, keeping in mind that what kind of risk they have, they are adopting a new project. Okay, now this particular project's risk should not affect the existing project risk of the organization. Okay, now next condition, the capital structure of the firm will not be affected by new investment. Now as I told you all, the cost of capital will help you in fixing a particular structure of capital in the organization. Now suppose if as a company you want to invest in a new project. Okay, now when you're investing in your project, that particular project's investment should not affect your capital structure of the firm. Similarly, third condition, the cost of capital is an appropriate discount rate for a project that is a carbon copy of firm's existing business. However, in practice, the cost of capital is used as a benchmark. Okay, now suppose if you want to, as I told you all earlier, there'll be two projects, and for those two projects you will set a particular benchmark, okay, based on the investment. Suppose while you're calculating, if the return is greater than the benchmark, you have chances of accepting the project. While you're calculating, if the return is lesser than the benchmark, you have chances of rejecting the project. Now what is a benchmark? Benchmark is a standard. It is a standard which is set by the company to see if you have to accept the project or to reject the project. Moving on to your next topic, you have factors affecting cost of capital or factors determining the cost of capital. Now, what are the factors? Now, there are various factors. Your factors can also be external factors and your internal factors which determines the cost of capital of the company. Firstly is the tax rate. Tax rate completely depends on the company, depends on the country where the company is functioning. Okay, tax rates are beyond the control of the firm. Yes, tax rates are something that are external and are fixed by the government. They have important effect on the overall cost of capital. Okay, they have important effect on the overall cost of capital. Tax rate affect the after tax cost of debt. Okay, now once you're calculating your entire project NPV or everything, you will have to calculate as to how much tax you need to give if the particular project incurs profit, right? So tax rates affect the after tax cost of debt. As a tax rate increases, the cost of debt decreases, decreasing the cost of capital. If the cost of debt increases, if the tax rate increases, the cost of debt decreases and the cost of decreasing the cost of capital. Okay, so let's see what is the next factor. That is the second factor. So your second factor is level of interest rate. Similarly, based on your tax rate, you have something known as your interest rate also. Now, if the interest rate increases, automatically the cost of debt increases. Okay, now suppose if you're taking 50 lakhs as debt, you have 25% that is rate of interest that you need to repay. That is double the amount of loan that you've taken, right? So as the interest rate increases, the cost of debt also increases. On the other hand, if the interest rates are low, the cost of debt is also low. Like how during for example during the COVID pandemic period, the cost of rates had decreased, right? Even if you would take a loan, the rate of return that you would pay, that is the interest rate, would be less. So similarly, if the interest rates are low, the cost of debt is less. The reduced cost of debt decreases overall cost or capital, and this will encourage additional investment. Now suppose if the cost of if there are low interest rate, now people will be more interested in investing in the particular business because the interest rate is low. Okay, but if the interest rate is high, people will hesitate in order to take loans and then invest in a particular business because the interest rate is high. Similarly, it should be balanced. Okay, there should be level the level of interest rate is one of the factor which influences the cost of capital decisions. Third factor is amount of financing. Now, what is amount of financing? Amount of financing is nothing but, for example, if, as more securities are issued, additional flotation cost of selling securities will affect the percentage cost of funds. Now, suppose, for example, let me give you, demand should be equal to the supply. Okay, your supply should be equal to the demand. There should be no over supply more than the demand. Okay, so based on which you need to check your amount of financing, how you are financing a particular project wherein you have necessary amounts or funds available with you in order to carry out your financial requirements, if you're able to carry out your day-to-day operations, etc. Your fourth one is operating and financial decisions made by management. Now, operating and financial decisions, as you all know, you need to have sufficient amount of capital in order to carry out your operations and to make effective financial decisions wherein you are making profits for a particular company. Okay, next is marketability of a company's security. Marketability of a company's security is nothing but it is a company's security is you have your securities could be equity shares, preference shares, your dividends, your bonds, etc. Right? So these investors required rates of return decrease, lowering the cost corporation. Suppose if you have investors only, the company should market its securities. Only if you have greater amount of investors, they will come and purchase your particular securities and you will be able to increase the cost of capital, thereby increasing the rate of return. But if the investors required rate of return decreases, it decreases the corporation's cost of capital. Okay. Next, you have general economic conditions. Now, what is general economic conditions? It is completely depending on the economy. Okay, how the economy is functioning, what are the external factors that are affecting your cost of capital. Okay, based on what is your demand and supply, based on which the economic conditions also tend to have an impact on the cost of capital. Next, you have sources of finance. Now you have either there are two sources of finance, that is internal source of finance and external source of finance. Now internal source of finance is a source of finance wherein you're borrowing from your own company members, that is through your top management members, wherein the directors are investing, the managers, only the company members are investing. Whereas your external sources are nothing but the general public at large or the government who's also investing. So you have sources of finance, and it completely depends from how you are generating your investment. Okay, whether you want to go for internal rate or internal source of finance or from the external source of finance. Next is business risk. As we all know, every business will have certain percentage of risk. No business is free of risk. Okay, now business risk also depends on the business life cycle stages. It could be your boom, inflation, recession, okay, depression stage. So completely your cost of capital is also affected by this business risk, which are either predictable or unpredictable. Certain business risk, if it is internal, it can be controlled, whereas if the business risk is arising due to external factors, it is not something that can be controlled. Okay, for example, you have technological, political, social environment, or etc. Next, you have your financial risk. Now, what is the financial risk? Is basically it is your financial resources, whether the particular financial resources are able to satisfy the organization, whether you have enough amount of capital to carry out your day-to-day operations or not. Based on this, the risk will arise. Next, you have your dividend. Lastly, you have your dividend policy. Now, what is dividend policy? Dividend policy is nothing but a dividend payout and a profit retention policy that a firm influences the determination of cost of capital. Based on your dividend, you will identify whether the company has profit or the company has losses, and how are you going to distribute the dividends to your shareholders, that is equity shareholders or preference shareholders or anyone as such. So moving on to your next topic, you have assumptions of cost of capital. Now, what are the assumptions which are taken into consideration and which are closely associated while you are calculating or you're measuring the cost of capital? Okay, there are three assumptions that are taken into consideration while you're calculating the cost of capital. First assumption is you are assuming this while you're calculating the cost of capital. First assumption, it is not a cost as such, it is merely a hurdle rate. Okay, your cost of capital is not a cost as such, it is merely a hurdle rate. Second one, it is the minimum rate of return. Your cost of capital is the minimum rate of return. Your third assumption, it consists of three important risks such as zero risk level, business risk and financial risk. Okay, you are considering three, or you are assuming three types of risk. That is, either you can have zero risk, or you can have business risk, or you can have financial risk in terms of cost of capital. Now, your cost of capital can be measured with the help of the following equation. K is equal to Rj plus B plus F. Now, what is K? K is the cost of capital. What is Rj? Rj is the riskless cost of particular type of finance. Riskless, that is riskless. You do not have any risk in the cost of particular type of finance. In some particular type of finance, you will not have risk. B is the business risk premium and F is the financial risk premium. So I hope the assumptions of cost of capital is clear to you all. So let's move on to the next topic, that is classification of cost of capital. Now, as you all studied earlier also how the cost of capital is classified, you have four classifications. The first one is historical and future cost. Now, historical is something wherein you are referring to your previous books of records. Okay, you are comparing your previous company's previous records wherein the company has earned profits and how the company has functioned, and you're comparing the historical with the current situation. Okay, wherein historical costs are the book costs which are related to the past. Okay, future costs are estimated cost of the future, as to how much you will see, as to what is the particular amount of profit that you will incur in future and what is the cost that you will incur in future. In final decisions, future costs are more relevant than historical cost. Future costs are very effective when you are comparing to the historical cost, because historical cost is acting like a guide to you all as to how you need to control your cost, how you need to maximize your profits. But future cost will give you an appropriate estimation as to how you need to calculate, what are the strategies you need to plan out. Okay, so it is more effective. Future cost is more effective when compared to your historical cost. Next, you have specific cost and composite cost. Now, your specific cost is basically the cost. A specific cost refers to the cost of specific source of capital. It is only one, either it is specifying to either one source of capital, whereas composite cost is the combined, okay, of various sources of capital. Okay, here it is only taking one source of capital, whereas here it is taking combined sources of capital. Here it could be either, it could be anything, whereas here it is taking combined sources of capital. Okay, it is weighted average. Your specific and composite, your composite cost is your weighted average cost of capital, wherein it is taking a combination of various sources. Next, you have explicit cost and implicit cost. Explicit cost is the discount rate which equates to the present value of cash inflows with the present value of cash outflows. Okay, you are equaling. Okay, you are in average in explicit cost. Explicit cost is basically it is a discount rate. You are balancing cash inflow. You are balancing cash inflow is equal to cash outflow. Okay, your cash inflow and cash outflow will be the same in explicit cost. In other words, it could be your internal rate of return also. Now, implicit cost is known as your opportunity cost. Okay, opportunity cost, it is the opportunity foregone in order to take up a particular object. Okay, you are sacrificing the amount. It is the opportunity which is foregone to take up a particular project. Okay, you are sacrificing, you are investing certain amount to take up a particular project. Next, you have average cost and marginal cost. Now, average cost is basically, it refers to the combined cost of various sources of capital. Okay, it is the combined cost of various sources of capital. For example, your sources of capital could be your equity, preference, debenture, etc. Whereas it is a weighted average cost of the cost of various sources of finance. Marginal cost of capital refers to the average cost of capital which has to be incurred to obtain additional funds required by them. Average is basically you're taking the average, that is the amount divided by 2, whereas your marginal is you're setting up a particular margin, and based on the margin you are deciding the amount of cost of capital. Next, you have computation of cost of capital. Now, what is the computation of cost of capital? Firstly, you will have various components for computation of capital. Okay, this we will be doing in the practical aspect.